name is Rachel Valkersel, and I'm the dietitian at Muskogee Creek Nation Sapulpa Indian Health Center. When it comes to eating healthy, it's important to make every bite count. Many times, our busy schedules make it difficult for us to make healthy eating a priority while on the go. So today, we're going to talk about making healthy snack choices using MyPlate. Before we discuss snacks, let's look a bit closer at the components of MyPlate. You may be wondering, what exactly is MyPlate? MyPlate is a USDA evidence-based food grouping system designed as an easy guide to navigate healthy eating and prevent the rise of chronic diseases such as diabetes, coronary heart disease, hypertension, and cancer. The history of food guides and food grouping systems dates back to 1916 and has changed shape from wheels to boxes to pyramids and plates. While food grouping systems continue to change, the intent to provide an easy guide to healthy eating has remained the same. The switch to food plate food guides is a fun way to visualize portion sizes and help us prioritize food groups with nutrients that our body needs to grow happy and healthy. If you look closely at the plate, you might have noticed that vegetables make up half of your plate. This is because almost 90% of the US population does not meet the recommendations for vegetables. Filling half your plate with vegetables is a good way to ensure you are making every bite count towards your vegetable intake goals. The remainder of MyPlate consists of a quarter plate from grains and starches and a quarter plate from protein sources. If you've ever wondered if you're making a good selection when it comes to meals and snacks, make your plate look like MyPlate. Let's look closer at the food groups displayed. The first group I would like to discuss are vegetables. Healthy dietary patterns include a variety of vegetables. When making selections for your vegetables, be sure to vary your choices. Try to get a source from each of the listed groups displayed throughout your week. Choosing to include vegetables in your snack choices is a great way to help you meet your daily recommended levels. When looking at the list of vegetables, you may have noticed the beans and starch vegetables are highlighted in orange. This is because they contain higher amounts of carbohydrates per serving and fit into the starch category of our plate. When choosing vegetables from these two groups, remember to read your nutrition fact labels and limit your serving sizes. If you choose to include these on your plate, treat them as a starch, not a vegetable. In general, 1/2 cup from each of the vegetables listed in orange are considered one serving size and contain roughly 15 grams of carbohydrates. For more information on meeting your individual vegetable goals, serving sizes, reading your labels, see your local registered dietitian. Next, I would like to talk about protein. Foods in the protein food group include meat, poultry, eggs, seafood, nuts, seeds, and soy products. When making selections from this group, it is important to prioritize lean or low-fat sources of protein. When making meat and poultry choices, look for 93% lean ground beef, pork loin, and skinless chicken. Choose seafood options such as salmon and trout, as they are higher in omega-3 fatty acids and are natural sources of vitamin D. Some food choices in the protein group are high in saturated fat and should be limited. These include fatty cuts of beef, pork, lamb, regular 75 to 85% ground beef, regular sausages, hot dogs, and bacon. Some luncheon meats, such as salami and duck, also contain a high amount of saturated fat. To help keep saturated fat intake below 10% of your daily calories, limit the amount of these foods you eat. In general, one serving size of meat or poultry is 3 ounces. While many Americans meet the protein requirements from beef, poultry, and eggs, they typically do not meet the recommendations for seafood, nuts, seeds, and soy products. When making snacks, look to include some of these alternative sources of protein in your choices. This brings us to fruit. Fruits are a great source of nutrients such as potassium, dietary fiber, vitamin C, and folate. Including fruits in your diet may help maintain healthy blood pressure reduce cholesterol levels, and lower your risk of heart disease. When making selections from these categories, be sure to read your nutrition fact labels and limit your portion sizes. This is because fruit contains a higher amount of carbohydrates and should be part of the starch category when constructing meals and snacks. Each of the serving sizes listed here contains roughly 15 grams of carbohydrates. For more information on serving sizes and reading labels for carbohydrates, see your local registered dietitian. Next, let's talk about grains, breads, and starches. Foods such as wheat, rice, cornmeal, bread, pasta, popcorn, rice, and oatmeal all belong to the grain and starch group within MyPlate. Grains are divided into two subgroups, whole grains and refined grains. Whole grains include the entire grain kernel and contain higher amounts of dietary fiber, which help reduce blood cholesterol levels and lower the risk of heart disease. When making selections for your starches and grains, try to make at least half of your choices from whole grain sources. Some whole grain choices include whole wheat, flour, oatmeal, whole grain cornmeal, and brown rice. Refined grains have been milled, a process that removes the bran and germ of the grain kernel to achieve a finer texture and improve shelf life. Unfortunately, this process also removes dietary fiber, iron, and many B vitamins. Some examples of refined grains include white flour, corn grits, white bread, and white rice. When making selections from your refined grain foods, look for the words enriched in the ingredients list. This means B vitamins and iron have been added back in after processing. Unfortunately, this process does not add fiber back in. So remember to include some sources of whole grains when making selections from this group. Finally, we have dairy. The dairy portion of MyPlate comes from foods and beverages such as milk, yogurt, cheese, and fortified plant beverages such as soy milk. The dairy group provides many nutrients, including calcium, phosphorus, vitamin A, riboflavin, vitamin B12, protein, and more. Consuming dairy products helps maintain and build strong bones. Milk and plant milks, fortified with vitamin D, are good sources of vitamin D. When making selections from this group, remember to portion your serving sizes. Just 8 ounces of skim, low-fat, soy, or rice milk contains about 15 grams of carbohydrates. When choosing milk products, look for their low-fat or fat-free forms, as they provide lower amounts of saturated fat. Now that we've talked through the components of MyPlate, let's construct a few simple snacks and see what food groups they provide. Throughout this section, feel free to stop the video and see if you can identify the components of MyPlate. For our first snack, we have peanut butter and apple slices. This snack contains a protein source from our peanut butter and a starch choice from our apple slices. This snack option is a great way to ensure we are getting in our servings of whole, fresh fruit, as well as a nut-based protein. For our second snack option, we have cottage cheese with peaches. This snack contains a dairy choice from our cottage cheese and a starch choice from our peaches. This snack is a great source of calcium and provides roughly 12 grams of low-fat protein. This snack choice also helps us get in a whole source of fruit. For our last snack option, we have a tuna avocado bowl. This snack contains a protein source from our tuna and a non-fat dairy source from our yogurt and a non-starchy vegetable source from our chopped green onion. If you would like to try this recipe, just stop the video at this time and take down the preparation instructions. Well, I hope you've had a good time learning about MyPlate and simple snacks. If you would like to get with your local registered dietitian for more information. Their information is displayed on the slide. Thank you so much.